Welcome back. This is the show that holds no punches, no topic is taboo. The first show you all loved the smell of burning rubber as I turned the heat up on Gumby's captain Barry Brand and let him melt under the torch. At the end of the show, Baz threw out the challenge. He wanted to see Bombers Tony Lynn15 under the Turbo's torch. So after some negotiations and trading of goats, we've managed to strap him into the hot seat. All the way from Abdu prison. Welcome, Tony Lynn15.
Is so exciting to be here. In fact, I've not been this excited since my Year 12 formal when my date rocked up at my front door. And just to let the listeners know, I actually went to an all-boys school. So I can't wait to do this today. Let's go.
All right. Well, Baz needed some foreplay to get hard, but looking at you, we obviously don't need that. So let's get this barbecue started. Okay, you know how it works. I ask the questions, you answer. No padding, no bullshit, just get it out raw and honest. Tony, have you been prepared for any of the questions I'm about to ask?
Nope.
Have you signed the form from Barely Legal that removes me from any responsibility of anything that happens to both physically and mentally to you as a result of coming under the torch?
Yes, though, it is definitely signed Tony Lynn15's mother.
Tony, are you ready?
Ready to go.
Time starts now. Some describe you as a smiling assassin. Others want to make you their lover. How do you see yourself, lover or fighter?
Oh, no, look, definitely a lover. Have never been a fighter. I'm very flattered by those that think the opposite, but no, certainly a lover.
The Bears not posting in the Bombers Bear game thread. What do you make of that?
Yeah, look, and I must admit, given we were playing the Bears, it probably took me about 4.5 days into the thread to realise that none of them had posted. I mean, look, they say flattery is that it's the greatest form of flattery to have someone copy you, and I think that's what they did. So yeah, I took it as a compliment.
You have been a guest in Turbo's hot tub on many occasions, I may say, especially when we get a group together. Who in the SFA do you think would be most uncomfortable spending an hour in the tub with us?
I think there'd be a few. I'm not convinced that Cadaver would be overly pleased to spend an evening in the hot tub with me, and I certainly know Wouchette would not be up for any of that. So I'd probably say those two.
Talking footy, Metal Crusher had very public melt to leave the Bombers after only being in the club for minutes. Did they just choose the wrong club? Did the club choose the wrong rookies? Or are they Bomber plants sitting unsuspected clubs ready to do some crazy Bomber shit?
Well, I'm certainly not aware of it being number 3. I must admit the Talking Footy one, I kind of got lost in that one. From memory, he'd sent me a PM saying how excited he was to join us. It must have been, I've never heard of him prior to that. And then, yeah, it all just seemed to really go pear-shaped. Metal Crusher was an odd one. He was obviously a poster from the Blues board that I was aware of. And, yeah, he sort of just seemed to really go out swinging and all guns blazing. So I'm actually not too sure what happened with those.
So nothing to do with the Bombers having an agenda and setting it up?
Certainly not that I'm aware of.
Many posters say the Bombers are ruining the SFA experience because you're insular, too busy spamming and talking amongst yourselves to allow other posters from other clubs to get involved. Do you think the Bombers are playing an unsocial brand of footy?
I think we always have, and it's interesting. We've always been really big that each club needs a brand, and I think we've got a brand and we do stick to that. And yeah, I'm always one that thinks it's then up to the other club to unravel that. So yeah, no, I'd certainly be on the side of the fence that says it's generally up to the opposition to find a way to combat what we do.
Yeah. Well, I just get into the jello shots and hot tub with yous, and we all just become good friends.
Yeah. Look, I mean, we do have our weaknesses, so it's just up to those other clubs to find out what they are.
Some in the SFA believe Wayne's World is a front, a hand puppet. that you, Kofi and the coach are the real leaders of the Bombers. Is it all part of the Bombers' smokescreen?
No. In fact, I would say when I was captain, I did very little leading, and I think that Wayne's certainly his own man. And given that Kofi and I haven't heard from Coach since well before Christmas,
but that's because he's in jail, isn't it?
Well, we're digressing, but I do honestly think he may be. And I'd say that in all sincerity because there's a few odd things that have happened. So he may be. But yeah, so no, he sort of has had no input for quite a while now. And Kofi and I have taken I think somewhat of a back seat this year. So no, it's certainly Wayne's his own man.
Have any of the Bomber knockers shown interest in joining the Bombers? Name names.
Look, I mean, one of the things that I have been surprised in over the past 3 or 4 seasons is genuinely the amount of interest we get from opposition players wanting to join. And for most of the time, it's kind of from very early in the season that we'll be in a match thread and then sort of we'll get a PM from one of the Oppo players saying how much they've enjoyed their banter against us and that they'd love to come on board. That said, though, I can't really recall any that definitely dislike us sending anything through asking to join. So we do attract a certain type, but I think most of the ones that on the board say they dislike us, they genuinely dislike us. So no, I haven't received any things from them.
You took and held Josh Woodenspoon, the spiritual heart and soul of the Bears. You posted a thread fireside chat with the Bears rubbing in their face. The fallout was the Bears not posting against you and some of the Bears even leaving the SFA. Do you take some ownership that the Bombers genuinely sport this experience for many of the Bears players? And if you could, would you have done something differently with the Josh Woodenspoon fiasco?
Well, I think there's one man that has really escaped this controversy in a big way.
Do tell.
And that is the Jesus. I mean, when you consider that he was well and truly the one that was behind this from the start, he PM'd me and tipped me in to something that he was cooking with JWS. Obviously, it was last season that was potentially going to lead to JWS coming to the Bombers. I think if we're going to point the finger at anyone, we need to point the finger at the Jesus.
I agree. You hear that, the Jesus? The finger's pointing at you, and you need to get on this show and answer up for that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And his little Teflon bloody saucepan, just terrible. Absolutely terrible. So no, he should take full responsibility for what happened.
Finally, a guest that's willing to put some dirt out there on other SFA players. Thank you very much, Tony. You're warming up Turbo's heart here.
Pleasure.
Do you get sick and tired of the constant Bomber bagging, or do you see it as a club KPI for success?
I think we've always taken it as a bit of a compliment. We sort of feel that if people are complaining about us, we're doing our job. We've never sort of really been a team that enjoys the sort of lovey-dovey match threads or that type of thing. So, no, we certainly take it as a compliment, and I would say we're not doing our job if people aren't getting a little bit upset by us.
Who in the current crop of Bombers has impressed you with their ability to handle the Bomber bagging?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I must admit I sort of have been a little bit distant from that side of things this year. But I think Antonio Bluevane from day one came in and took no prisoners. I think even a few of the guys that were recruited, Kadsky, I think Riviet, Requiem. I'm probably going to have missed quite a few of them and embarrassed myself here. Have also taken it on board. Santos, I think, is a real up-and-comer that doesn't take any backward steps, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's Snazulo. I think most of them have sort of really embraced it when they've come on over.
So the whole Santos being the humour coach, was that something he come up with, or is that something the team gave him?
Yeah, no, again, unless it was something that he'd been workshopping with some of the other boys. No, I just noticed that in one of our early match threads that he proclaimed himself as the SFA humour coach and has really stuck with it. So no, I'm pretty sure that was just something he coined himself, which has been quite funny.
Well, it has, because people aren't finding it humorous at all.
No, but I think that sort of really affirms his place with the Bombers, that he's doing something that's getting under people's skins, and the additional thing that you have to do when you're a Bomber is when you find something that gets under people's skins, is to just do it ad nauseum. And he's done that well. So.
I came in at 7 on Kofi's list of scoundrels, scallywags, personalities and wacky functions of the SFA. Do you think I could have been higher on the list if I'd let him be Big Spoon last time we were in Banhammer Prison together?
I would think that you would have been number one with a bullet if you had entered into that type of behaviour. With him, I was extremely disappointed that Natural Disaster wasn't number one in that list. But no, I would have thought if you had done that, you would have been number one with Daylight second.
Yeah, I knew it. Oh well, next time we're in prison, I'm sure we will be back there again. I'll go Little Spoon Kofi if you're listening. Yeah. Okay, in season 28, Bloody 52 stated, and this is season 28. Reliable intel from several of the source veterans of the infamous club, being the Bombers, suggests star player Wayne's World 19 and prolific recruit Antonio Bluevane are for the high jump. Now this obviously didn't happen. Does B52 just drink his own bathwater, or is he just too stupid to realise the Bombers are playing him?
I like all the people in the SFA that really have a go and do their thing. I must admit, with B52, it's very rare that I would read past the first line of one of his posts. They're too long-winded. So yeah, I'm not too sure. I think he's enjoyed. Well, I think he's enjoyed the banter with us. I'm not convinced that he fully gets where we're coming from sometimes and what we're actually doing. But yeah, he has a go. I think he's still a little bit naive, but he has a go.
Does that sexy pug Waffle ever dry hump your leg? Because I can just picture him being a prolific dry leg humper.
Yeah. I don't think there's any need to sort of beat around the bush with that one. The straight out answer is yes.
Oh, excellent. Bombers have filled their ranks with rookies over the last few seasons. Is that because you cannot get established players to the desert?
No, well, I don't. I think over the last few seasons we've sort of felt that the list's been fairly strong. And we had been heavily criticised for not recruiting rookies. So it probably was a few seasons ago now that we went out after rookies, and I guess it's sort of just stuck from there. We probably haven't been as active as what we were 3 or 4 seasons ago in trying to attract, I guess, current players. Yeah, Wayne's definitely been big on the rookie side of things. So yeah, look, it may be a bit from column A and a bit from column B, but there has been a push towards the rookies.
Was the Bombers' shitty season 28 on-field performance just random sin stuff, or do you think there's something more sinister behind it?
Oh, I mean, I've been very vocal in my criticism of the sim. It's not random. It's manned by a group of people who sometimes struggle to hide their emotions. So yeah, I will quite happily state, and probably get banned for this, that I don't believe there's any randomness at all. In fact, the sim may be random, but if you run that sim 7 times to get the result you want, you can post that. So yeah, no,
I knew it. Yes, and that'll explain why in season 28, you guys are getting hammered with the posting side and people getting into you, and your on-field performance totally matched it. And I kept thinking week after week, loss after loss, that just can't be coincidence. You flip a coin 100 times, it's got to come up heads at least 50, doesn't it?
Well, I believe so. Yeah, Lynn15 constantly disagrees with me because he's a mathematician and I'm not. But I truly believe that the sim may be random, and a big shout out to Mobs. I'm not for one moment suggesting that Mobs likes to play with a loaded deck, but I do believe if you ran that same sim for the same match 7 times and got the outcome you wanted, takes a little bit of the randomness out of it, yeah.
Yeah, and don't worry about being in trouble saying that, because this show has like a waiver for any of that stuff, so we're good.
Fantastic.
I see you called for Ace Andy to do the honourable thing and hand back his S28 Visa Award.
Jeez.
Do you feel good knowing you were trying to take away the biggest award Ace has ever received and potentially destroying his self-worth?
Look, Ace and I do go back quite a long way on the Carlton board. In fact, I'll indulge you for a minute. Ace disappeared from the Carlton board for quite a number of seasons. This was many years ago, and I recall starting a thread on the Blues board, where's Ace, and begging for him to come back. So we do go back a fair way, but look, I do hold the Bees Award in very high esteem. How he finished 7th or 8th or whatever it was, it is just beyond comprehension. Beyond comprehension. So, look, I know that it's an award that he would hold very dear, but there was something completely wrong with that.
So rip it off the bars is what you're saying, isn't it? Or do you want Ace Andy to put it back? You think Ace Andy should do the right thing? Oh,
absolutely. I mean, I would say it would be a very hollow victory. I mean, it's kind of Steve Bradbury-like, isn't it? That somehow, others just fell over and there he was. So, no, I would have thought, we're both honourable blokes, you and me, and I would have thought that I would have handed it back by now if I'd been given that. I mean, you look at Natural Disaster, who's been a huge workhorse on this board, media and all sorts of things. I mean, it took him a number of years to even make the top 20.
Oh, and has he ever thanked you for the effort you put in to get Natural Disaster's profile up there?
No, and I mean, I'm not one to sort of really pine for that type of thing. I did it out of the goodness of my heart because I felt that he had been robbed for many seasons. But it took him many seasons to crack into the top 20. So yeah. I mean, look, I think if Ace Andy was honourable, and I did notice that Testicle has nominated him.
He has.
I'd love to hear Ace Andy's thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, if he has the balls to get in the chair, I'll be definitely asking him. Now, it was Mobs that gave back his All-SFA selection because he felt he didn't deserve it. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah, and that prompted me to start up the People's All-SFA team.
So men of honour have done it in the past. So Ace, you hearing this, buddy? It's not like, people don't do it. This is how you prove yourself as a worthy Coody player.
Yeah, and I mean, I would think too that it would probably be quite cathartic for him to do it. I mean, he knows, wandering around the halls of the SFA, that people are whispering and sort of sniggering. I mean, give it back and you won't have any of that. Yep.
Right, if you had to bring in a captain for the Bombers from another team, who do you think it would be that would be the best fit for your current crew?
Does it have to be a current captain, or it could just be anyone?
But you're serious about him being a captain, though?
Probably Metal Crusher.
Serious? Metal Crusher?
Yeah. No, I think he's made of stoic stuff, and I think he could. I think it could really help him as a postman.
Good. He'd love to hear that, I reckon. Do you back Headless's campaign for professional designated All-SFA interchange?
Absolutely. I think that one of the forgotten arts in the SFA is just being part of a team for the sake of it, and not necessarily having to have a prime spot. So I think you know, those that play in certain positions, and whether that's on the bench all the time, they absolutely should make the All SFA team on their merit. So totally behind Headless on that one.
Oh, Headless is touching himself right now while he's listening to this. Trust me. Kaz, C30. Was that you or one of the other retrobates on the Bombers team?
No. No.
Oh, that's not a confident no. That's a, no. And then maybe. Come on, spill the things. Who was it?
No, it was, I don't know, some...
you just about said it.
Some married lady from England with a child.
A Christian lady with a child, thank you.
Correct.
All right, save it for a thread. It'll blow the wheels off everyone. Okay, Brab has stated, this is Brab, every team that comes up against the Bombers has two options. Go full boomer or have a shit week. The league has been immeasurably more enjoyable for him since he put 6 of your mouth-breathing teammates on ignore. Brab still hasn't been picked up yet. Are the Bombers interested?
The Bombers interested. I don't think the Bombers would ever say no to any poster. But I will say the thread that I started recently, which was about gathering some feedback for the Bombers to potentially tennis. I have started some sub-forums with that, and I've nominated Brad Brage, Ned Flanders as the antagonists, right? Because I feel that's a key pillar that every team needs. You need a bit of antagonism. So I started a PM with those guys to gather some feedback. Brage hasn't replied. Ned Flanders hasn't replied. And the only reply I got was from Brad, and the feedback that he gave me was I think it was fuck off, you racist boomer. So that's the only bit of feedback that I've had in that PM so far, and that was from Brad. So, I mean, look, we would always welcome posters with open arms. I'm just not sure whether Brad would be up for it.
Well, he did better than me. The only response I've ever got from Brad was, fuck you. And that was it. And I've gone, oh, okay.
Well, but to be fair, I think it was really important for him to get the words racist and boomer into a reply to me. So, yeah, I don't feel all that special, but thank you for pointing that out.
What do you make of the Dragons and their game plan of out-gifting the Bombers?
Serial killer Strigoi and Ace Andy.
Yep.
And they went really hard and posted a lot. But, you know, once again, I'd say if copying us is a form of flattery, we'll take it. And, yeah, really pleased that they're sort of looking to us for some inspiration.
Wayne's World's behaviour in the committee is ruffling feathers. Do you think this is why the Bombers seem to be on the bad end of the stick when it comes to penalties being dished out?
Yeah, it's a really good question. We sort of handpicked Wayno for that role because I think prior to Wayno it was the coach who, from memory, didn't even log in. So we felt we'd genuinely let ourselves down with that one, and we felt that Wayne would certainly have a strong voice for us in the committee, and that you know, he would ruffle some feathers. And I think we've always sort of been of the same opinion that there are some things in the SFA that probably deserve a bit of seriousness, and certain decisions. So we always try to vote without emotion. So, you know, there might be certain teams or certain posters that, you know, we've had a run-in with. But if it came to a decision on them for a penalty, we would purely just base it on the evidence. I don't believe everybody in that committee could honestly look themselves in the mirror and say that they do that when it comes to the Bombers.
You make out the Bombers are a solid group, yet you lost Talking Footy, Metal Crutcher, and even Bees elected to leave and face a slow death at the Gumbies. And Josh Winspoon even posted bloody gay porn rather than stay at the Bombers. Are you kidding yourself, or is this just a public persona?
Well, I mean, no, I would say one of our proudest moments was that, I mean, how long was Josh with us for? Like maybe 6 rounds before he did that. I mean, what a work of art from the Bombers that one of the most revered posters in the SFA, one of the guys that everyone respected, after only 6 weeks, we were able to get him to post Cape Horn. If that's not one of the greatest tributes to the Bomber brand, I don't know what is.
And how do you reckon the SFA public, do you reckon they'd all be supporting that? That's a great thing.
Oh, look, I think there'd be pockets of support mixed in with certainly some non-support. So I would have thought that only the Bombers could drive somebody to do that.
What currently shits you the most about the SFA?
Not a lot, really. I mean, I've always sort of just taken it for what it is, and that's just having a bit of fun, having a laugh, and giving as much as you take, and all the rest of it. So, I do think that it has gone a little bit too PC over the last few years. I get that there's a balance there somewhere, but I look at some of the things that cause sort of uproar nowadays, and it's very different to when I first started. So I'd probably that would probably be the thing that I just think that some people take it a little bit too seriously nowadays. Yeah,
I agree. We need to settle the PC crap out of the way. If you had to play for another team, which would it be and why?
If I had to play for another team, I must admit, because I've been with the Bombers all along, and rarely sort of get tapped on the shoulder by any other team in the off season. That's an interesting question. I think if I was to do it, I would probably genuinely look at a club that may be battling a little bit, and see if I could sort of help there. So, and I guess that would then depend on whatever that period was, who was,
So right now, if the Bombers were folded and you had to jump to another team before next week's game, which team would you choose then?
Oh, well, who would be struggling the most? I don't know, maybe someone like the Gumbies or the Bears or even the Dragons. I'd probably say out of those three, from what I see, I think they're the three that are probably struggling the most for posters and activity.
Okay. Is Baghdad Brown better than Yeeside Hawk's shitty hash?
Yes, it is. I'm definitely a West Side player from a rap perspective, so certainly not interested in any of the East Side stuff.
Time is up. Thanks, Tony Lynn15. And I have one last question. Who would you like to see in the hot seat next?
Ooh, so I get to choose somebody. This is exciting. Plenty that I think would be worthy, but there's one person that I would love to hear from, and that's Metal Crusher. So I'm going to nominate Crushy to come on and absolutely destroy the 245 kilogram love muscle.
You heard it, Metal Crusher. Have you got the courage, I'm sure he has, to sit on the hot seat and prove yourself? This is Tiger Turbulence, making it even hotter in the SFA.